Hey guys, what is going on today? We have some breaking news through the MLB. I'm going to talk about that for a little bit. As you've heard, I'm sure, Vlad Guerrero Jr. agrees to a $500 million 14-year extension. Blue Jays have locked him up, and I think that's the smartest move for the Blue Jays going forward. They've been trying to sign big names in the off seasons, season after season after season, just falling short. But I think this shows the commitment to the future players that they can get, the future deals that they can make, that they are ready to win and they want to win now. You got to take care of your guys in your organization first before you take care of anybody else. You can't be offering these huge deals to these free agents everywhere. And meanwhile, you got a guy, Vlad Guerrero, who's been your homegrown talent, who you failed to sign to this point. This is a big turnaround for them. I think this really has an impact on their fan base. You're not seeing another superstar get let go to free agency and signed by a division rival, possibly, or somebody that's going to maybe hinder your playoff run. I like this signing. I think there's still a lot more to come here. And I'm excited to see what the Blue Jays are going to do to try to make themselves contenders in a very tough possibility of a strong AL East. I know right now National League has really swung with the better league, the better quality of baseball, so on and so forth, better pitching, a lot of great hitters over there, but I think this could be the AL's resurgence. This is the start of something here. When the AL East is doing really well and strong, at least 4 teams in the AL East are doing good. Baseball's doing good, in my opinion. This is a huge deal. So you never know. Right now, obviously, in the AL East, you got the New York Yankees. We're off to a phenomenal start. People say torpedo bat, but they're not the only ones using it. Stop just pointing it to the Yankees. Let's be real. You got people on the Phillies organization. They're using it. People all over the league. It's just because the Yankees are setting records of how many runs they are scoring, and people like Volpe are having a higher batting average because of this. MLB really needed this, and this is why. Pitching has gotten so leaps and bounds ahead of hitting in baseball, okay? It's changed over the last 10, 12 years. Big time. And as great as that part of it is for the game, you need to have the balance of the hitters. People want to see the long ball. That's fantastic for the game. People really, really can get engaged when they could follow somebody to maybe a home run path or a batting title, so on and so forth. What it does for the sport is phenomenal. You have all these analytics and all these in-depth things that they're doing with the pitching staffs to look at spin rate and all these different things. You need to give something back to the hitters to make it a fair game, to make it a fun game, an exciting game that fans want to see, and help grow the sport. And this is the best way to do it. You need more offense in the game. I mean, a year ago, they expanded the bases. They had the pickoff rule come into place. All these things are great for the game. You want to see people running the bases. You want to see competitive baseball, not just always pitching dominance. Okay, a 0-0 game into the 8th inning, as great as that is, if you're a huge fan of pitching, it's not great if you paid the money to see Shohei Ohtani hit, or Aaron Judge hit, or Gunnar Henderson hit. Even people like Vlad Guerrero Jr. I mean, they're paying money to go to the ballpark to see their favorite stars, not only see them field, but see them hit the long ball, see them get key hits in key situations. It's part of what makes baseball exciting. Maybe you'll have a situation where you got a Paul Skeens going up against an Aaron Judge or a Shohei Ohtani or a Vlad Guerrero. It just makes it exciting, and you don't know who's going to win the battle or the war. And baseball absolutely needs this. I'm a big fan of it. I love it. I'm excited about it. All right, so with that said, I'm going to move on from the Vlad Jr. stuff. Congratulations to Vlad. You get that bag, and you did it. He's another great star in the game. But moving on from that, I wanted to talk about the Pirates. So the Pirates recently removed a Roberto Clemente sign and replaced it with an ad. And the ownership group says that they didn't realize they didn't mean to insult anybody or offend the family. They claim it was an honest mistake. They apologized to the family and to the fan base. My thing is this. You're the owner of a ball club. Okay, a ball club that hasn't been to World Series in a very long time. Hasn't been ultra successful in a very long time. And it's because a lot of the ownership not maintaining these stars that they have. A lot of them just letting these people go, trading them away, things like that over the years. And the Pirate fan base has suffered. And then you have the audacity. You should know your organization. You should know your team. You have the audacity to take one of the greatest players who ever played the game, your greatest player in the history of your organization, somebody who died to help others, okay? Big love from that fan base to Roberto Clemente, okay? Who's loved all around baseball. And you accidentally rented out a section in your outfield, on your outfield wall, the biggest wall you have in the whole stadium that you see on TV every day if you even watch the game. Okay? You've been there to the stadium live because you are the owner. You see the whole ballpark. And you're telling me that you accidentally replaced Roberto Clemente's number logo on the wall because you rented it out to an advertisement? You should be sorry. But what I think you're really sorry for, and maybe I'm out of line for saying this, but I don't care because it pisses me off when a legend like that is disrespected and their fan base. And I am not a diehard Pirates fan. I have respect for them. I like their organization. But I don't like their front office. I don't like their ownership. I think you're sorry because you got caught and because people realized it. You were trying to make money off the deal. You were trying to flip the script on people, thinking, hey, you know what? They might not really notice. But guess what, buddy? Your biggest superstar in the history of the Pirates, you replaced his number with an ad. An ad. You owe them more than an apology. You owe them more than an apology. Not just to the fan base, not just to Roberto Clemente's family, but to the league itself. What kind of owner are you? You should not be allowed to be a sports owner and you overlook something about your own franchise? Come on. I'm sorry for getting worked up, guys, but this is unacceptable, okay? We're talking Roberto freaking Clemente. How do you disrespect him like that? And you're the owner of the Pirates. I got to move on from this because you know what? I'm in a stress bubble right now and I got to simmer it down a little bit. But we are going to touch more on that. I'm going to be following this story a lot more. Just total disrespect. And I'm sorry, guys. Before I let this go, let me just read something to you that really fired me up about this, okay? This is word for word what was reported, okay, by The Athletic, okay? The owner said, we had used this area for advertisements for many years. When we didn't have a sponsor coming out of COVID, we added an additional element in 2022 to honor the legacy of Roberto Clemente. It was a replica of Three Rivers signage honoring him. So you know as the owner you did this. You know as the owner you approved this. How don't you know as the owner that it's there and that you just rented that space out? How don't you know? Unacceptable. Unacceptable. He should not be the owner of the Pirates. That's disrespectful to Roberto Clemente. Like I said, I'm going to move on from this, guys. I'm going to cover some news throughout baseball, okay? All around baseball. All right, and as I'm doing this podcast right now, okay, the Yankee game's going on. It's 3-0 Detroit, in the bottom of the fourth. And this game had to be adjusted because of the frigid weather hitting Detroit. They had to move the game up to a much earlier time slot. Very interesting. This is not the only place. If you saw a couple days ago in Philadelphia, it was like a misty, cold, rainy, nasty, sloppy day. Colorado, I know we expected, but it was snowing in the game in Colorado. Kind of reminded me of the '96 Yankee home opener where it snowed in the Bronx. But a lot of crazy weather going on out there, guys. Be safe wherever you're at. But yeah, it's definitely affecting MLB. So today was an early game. Tomorrow, Yankees-Tigers, 1:10 p.m. in Detroit. That would be April 8th. And Wednesday, April 9th, 1:10 right now. So as of right now, it's going on. I did see a report earlier saying they were going to be canceled this series, but they are still playing it. That's not going to happen. Moving on. And listen, let me hit up the AL East here. Okay, I was talking about the Blue Jays earlier. Let's talk a little bit about the Orioles, right? Let's talk about the Orioles. All right, I changed up my hat, guys. I don't understand something. The Orioles last year had Corbin Burns, okay? And they had a list of injuries, okay? They were riddled with injuries. And I think that's a big reason why they fell short in the playoffs, okay? Because they were a much better team than what we saw. They're a much better team than what we saw against the Yankees even last year. But I feel like you got such nucleus of young talent. Okay, right now, I feel is your time to push and win. Because the AL East, you look at the Boston Red Sox, they have young talent. They have the top 3 prospects in baseball. They've had trouble with Devers and getting Bregman and him moving to the DH role and all this stuff. Okay, so you don't know what kind of mess they got on. Now is your chance to win, okay? The Yankees have Garrett Cole out, okay? They have Luis Gil out for maybe 3 months, but we'll see. You never really know. Even if he comes back, he might not come back the same. You have Giancarlo Stanton out for the Yankees right now, who, no surprise there, he's been riddled with injuries throughout his career, especially since he came to the Yankees. Now is your time to win. Why in the offseason did you not get that big pitcher? Why don't you take some of that young talent? I'm not saying all of it, just little pieces of it, okay? Because you got such a deep organization. You got depth in the minor leagues. Get a couple starting pitchers. Or at least, a solid ace. I mean, you're not going to contend like that. Even if you happen to win the AL East, okay? Say the Blue Jays, they're not going to make it. Let's say this isn't their year. Let's say the Yankees scuffle. They end up not making it, or you could beat them out. Let's say the Red Sox have a good run, but they don't make it, and you make it. You don't have a lot to worry about in the AL, okay? And this goes for all teams in the AL, right? You have an easier path to the World Series than any team in the National League, okay? And I know people love their AL teams, but we got to get real here, okay? I'm a Yankee fan, and to be honest with you, this is the easiest years, last year and this year for sure, the easiest years for you to get to the World Series. Then you only have to worry about one of those great National League teams. One could be the Dodgers. I don't think it will be, but we're going to get to that. Could be the Phillies. Could be the Padres, the Diamondbacks. I mean, you just don't know. Okay, could be the Cubs. Okay, they're kind of a sleeper when you think about the Dodgers. And you think about the Diamondbacks. And the Giants right now are having a good start. Do I think it'll last? No. Not this season. I don't think they're deep enough. But my whole thing is this. Now is your chance to win. When you go into the playoffs, it's about great pitching. Okay? Pitching is what wins in the playoffs. Okay? No matter what kind of bats you have. Okay? Pitching's what wins. You have enough young talent. You're just missing the pitching. You're missing starters, and to me, you're missing some bullpen. Add maybe 1 or 2 guys to the bullpen if you can. But you need a starting pitcher. that maybe you can get a little length out of, that you could go to all the time. Because without that, you're not going to make it very far. You're really not. I mean, what are you going to do? You're going to go up against the Dodgers pitching? They may have injuries too, which I think they will be, but I mean, come on. Say they make it. How do you think the Orioles stack their pitching against Dodgers? They don't. All right, well, what about the Phillies? They've had their issues, but they got people like Ranger and Nola, and they have some possibilities there. Wheeler. Okay. Depending on the injuries and how that plays out. I'm not talking about any of that. I'm talking about what they got. But hands down, the Orioles just don't have the starting pitching right now to get them there. And I literally went to an Orioles game last year. I did. Orioles-Yankees. Okay, and the Yankees won. Okay, because the pitching just wasn't there for the Orioles, and the Yankees ended up out-hitting them over the course of 7 innings. But what I want to say is this. Okay, right now Baltimore's sitting 5th place in the AL East. It's early. They're 4-6. Calm down, people. It's not too late, but I think you need a deal early on, and most teams aren't willing to trade, so maybe you want to get somebody out of free agent and give them a go, a veteran, and just see what they can do. I don't know who really would be out there to be a great fit, but maybe. Okay, and then mid-season you make a trade. But you need pitching. Pitching is what you need. I mean, come on. What are they doing? I'm going to quickly touch on the Red Sox, okay? Let me tell you something. Red Sox have some star players, okay? They are the team of the next 4 years at least, okay? Jarren Duran, I am such a freaking big fan of what he's doing. He's got speed. I think he plays a great outfield. I think he can hit. He just had this whole story now with the suicide attempt, so it might derail him a little bit. However, he is a top flight star. Okay, I think Tristan Casas, I think he's another great star for them. I'm very surprised they let Nick Pivetta go. I thought he was going to be there for some years to come, maybe. But overall, the one thing I got to say is they are built for success for years to come. Okay? I want to see the next Yankee-Red Sox rivalry happen. I want to see it. And I think we're going to in the next 4 years. Within that. Not 4 years from now, but within probably the next year or so. Okay, Alex Bregman just got named AL Player of the Week. He's having a resurgence over there. And I think it'll continue as long as that Devers stuff doesn't get too messy. And I think Devers is starting to settle in with it, so maybe it'll actually work. But as I had predicted, I think Devers is going to get traded midseason. And I think it would be smart because the pieces they could get back for him can complete them. I think they're a 5-player team. They're 5 players or less away from going to the World Series. I really believe that. And if you're a Red Sox fan, that's something you should be super excited about. Think about it. I really believe it. All right, moving real quick to the AL Central. Let me tell you something. Everybody's saying Tigers, Tigers, Tigers. Okay, AL Central, as we know, is a weak division. Okay, they've been that way for a while. No surprise, the White Sox are off to a 2-7 start. They haven't done much to get better than last year, and they had the worst record in history last year. I don't see it coming from them. I think the Guardians will move up the ladder a bit, probably flip-flop with them and the Twins. Tigers, Royals at top of the division right now. I think we'll see that at the end. However, I think the Royals are the team that eclipses the Tigers. I love their pitching. Okay, Reagans, and so on and so forth. They really have. I think they're another team, 5 players away or less from being playoff contention and a serious threat. I think they make some kind of deal, which makes them a little bit better, and it's enough to win the division and get into the playoffs. And I think that's exciting for Royals fans. You know, for so long you were in the basement of the Central. I don't see that ever happening again within the next 4 years. Okay, not ever again, but within the next 4 years, I don't see it happening. White Sox are just too bad, okay? Unless this is their chance of giving their young talent and organization some development, and maybe something special comes out of there. Maybe they get their version of a core 4 or a core 5. But they're still a little ways away unless some trades get made. But as of this moment, I got the Royals winning the Central. And then it brings me to the AL West real quick. So the AL West, you got the Rangers sitting on top at 8-2 right now. Okay? Underneath is the Angels. The Angels, I don't see them making it, okay? The A's, I don't see them making it for obvious reasons. The Astros, I think, are more on the decline unless they make a couple deals. They could be a 5-team or 5-player or less team. The Mariners, 3-7 sitting at the bottom. That's not going to stay that way long. I think they do finish in third. Rangers win the division. Astros come in second. But you know what? Let me pull something funny out to you. I thought about this. Suppose the A's, who are playing in a minor league stadium, suppose the A's made the playoffs. What would MLB do? What would they do? Because if the A's made the playoffs, which obviously is a long shot, if the A's made the playoffs, you think the MLB would allow the A's to sell tickets to 10,000 fans, 12,000 fans? Come on. Come on, where would they play? And I don't think it'd be fair to the A's to have to move after getting used to the ballpark for a whole year to have to move to play the playoffs, and this would be their most meaningful baseball in years? I don't think it'd be fair. I think MLB has to do better in the future with situations like this. I know it was a rough situation, but you took them out of the Coliseum, and obvious reasons with that. But now they're playing in a minor league stadium. Baseball is wild. Don't believe that the team you see on paper is a guarantee to the World Series, okay? Because the Dodgers are not, okay? Oh, but the Dodgers have Shohei. They have this one. They have Blake Snell, who's now injured. They have Blake Snell. They have this guy and that guy. And, oh, they got Freeman, who's also injured. And they got all these players. Well, guess what? And they were just at the World Series last year. Guess what? It's time to wake up. How many years did the Yankees have on paper the greatest team in baseball history and did not go to the World Series? Got eliminated. Okay, a couple times they didn't even make the playoffs. And sometimes it came after a World Series year. I mean, come on. Just because they're great down on paper, this is a long season. The Seattle Mariners in 2001 won 116 games. Just to lose to the Yankees in the ALCS. So it could happen to anybody. This is baseball. That's what makes baseball so exciting. You love your team. You stick with your team. Sometimes they'll surprise you. And sometimes they'll rip your heart out and break your heart. And you'll be the most pissed off fan of their team they've ever been. You want the owner to sell them. You want the GM fired. Rightfully so. Rightfully so. But my thing is this. Baseball, you have to do better in the future. We're kind of going through the same thing with the Rays. All right? Yankees lent the Rays Steinbrenner Field. But what if the Rays freaking do amazing and end up getting to the playoffs? They are not going to play a playoff game in Steinbrenner Field. It wouldn't be fair to the Rays. They're going to lose money on playoff tickets because they can't sell out. I mean, come on. Steinbrenner Field. Yes, natural disasters happen. But let me tell you something. Banana baseball. Savannah Bananas. Banana Ball just played in Tampa Bay Buccaneers Stadium, which they were more than willing to turn it into a baseball field. Why can't the Rays do the same freaking thing? Why? I don't understand it. They're a major league club. They should not be playing in a minor league stadium. I don't care whose stadium it is or how nice it is. Any team in baseball could make the playoffs. If they make the playoffs, you're not playing the playoffs at Steinbrenner Field. You're just not. And what would be really funny, and I really want to see this, okay? And I'd be sad, obviously, if the Yankees don't make the playoffs, but I'd love to see Tampa Bay versus the A's in the playoffs. What would MLB do? And whatever they chose to do, move it to a stadium or whatever, it'd be unfair at this point. I mean, come on. Come on, people. I get it. Okay, with the football schedule, Tampa Bay Buccaneers would be doing this and doing that. But you know what? They could freaking work it out. How many years did the Giants and Jets play at Yankee Stadium? Oh, yeah, we forgot that. Oh, before the Meadowlands. Oh, crap. That's real. Teams do it. Oh, wait. We had the Miami Marlins playing the same stadium as the Dolphins. Crap, it happens. How come they didn't do it again? How come? You got to do better, baseball. It's not fair. They're losing money on these games. Yes, the A's fans stopped coming to the Oakland Coliseum, but what were you giving them? You were giving them a crappy stadium. You weren't giving them any excitement. You couldn't retain Olsen. You couldn't retain Murphy. I mean, come on. How many years are they going to put up with this? Yes, it Moneyball concept. Fantastic. But you know what? Sometimes you have to give back to the fans who have been supporting you through all those ups and downs, and more downs than ups. I couldn't imagine being one of those fans. I'm blessed to naturally be a Yankee fan. And we've been spoiled with wins. We've been spoiled with championships. So it hurts when we lose. Let me tell you, it freaking hurts. But these other teams, I mean, what are their ownership doing for them? What are they doing? Come on, ownership. Come on, baseball. You got these fans chanting, sell the team. I wonder why they want you to sell the team. Because they care about the team more than freaking ownership does. That's why. And they deserve. They're paying their hard-earned money to go to the game. They're paying their hard-earned money to maybe pay subscriptions just so they can watch their favorite players play. So they can share that with their families, their kids, so on and so forth. And you're screwing them over by putting them in a minor league stadium and saying, oh, be happy with it. We made the facilities nicer. We put Rays logos on everything. Oh, A's, we're going to put your logo on everything. We're going to drop Oakland off of it. What happened when they were the Kansas City A's? You moved them out of there too, and they were pissed off. I mean, come on. Let's get it right. Baseball's been around too long to not get it right. You want to maintain fans, grow this sport? You grow it by giving back to your fans and your fan base. Give them something to be excited about. You think they're excited about, oh, I can't wait. Oakland's been there, the Oakland A's have been there for years, and now they're moving out of Oakland, dropping the Oakland name. They're going to move to Las Vegas, and then it'll be really hard for me to go down and ever see them in person if I live in Oakland. I invested all these years into them, shared this with my dad, my grandfather, and so on and so forth, but, well, when I have kids, maybe one day I'll just go down to Vegas and take them to a game. Come on! Come on! All right, I'm sorry, guys. I'm getting fired up here. We're going to move on to the National League. All right, guys, we're back talking about the National League here. I had to get a drink. I had to switch my hat, support the National League a little bit. Got my Cincy hat on. First of all, we got the Phillies, who I briefly talked about earlier. Okay? Briefly talked about them. The Phillies are off to a hot start, not surprising anybody, okay? They're 7-2. Mets are not far behind them, okay? 6-3. They're a game behind. Then you got the Marlins, 5-4. Overperforming right now. Braves are 1-8. 1-8. Terrible start for them. Surprising start for them. That's not where they're going to finish, though. We all know that. Marlins are going to be at the bottom of this thing. I see the Nationals moving up, where the Braves are probably going to eclipse the Nationals. I think Braves are in third, Nationals finish in fourth, okay? Kind of where everybody suspected, but watch out for the Nationals. They are a team that could surprise you, could end up becoming a second-place team, maybe a first-place team. They got real young talent. Okay. Real young talent, up and coming. Real young talent who's been there now. I watched them play the Yankees last year. My goodness. These guys, they get it. They're all locked in. They have that hunger in their eye, that desire. They want to win. They don't want to be the underdogs. I don't think they will be for long. Okay, I think maybe they're about a 2 or 3 year team. They're a little bit away, but they're knocking on that door soon. The Braves are usually solid, right? So they're known for being solid year in and year out to get the players they need to get. They got Strider. Oh, man, I can't say enough about Strider. If I was to make a filthy five, okay, he'd be one of them. Okay, that's a reveal. I do have another video coming with Filthy Five, who I think are the filthiest five-man rotation in baseball right now if I was to make one. Okay. But moving on. The Marlins just kind of going to stay where they are. Everything Jeter pretty much did when he was there is pretty much erased now. They've kind of backtracked. They're pretty much the Marlins, not the winning Marlins that you've known a few times. They're the Marlins that are kind of in figure out our identity mode, find our way mode. They got young talent, but we're seeing some of that's being traded away, and it's just disappointing for the Marlins after things were looking up for a little bit there. The Mets. Everybody's, hey, the Mets this, the Mets that. Let me tell you something. Something I'm going to say is going to piss a lot of people off. And I'm going to say it in a little bit, but I'll give you a little spoiler. I don't think Dodgers are going to make the World Series, and I'm going to tell you the reasons why. But one of them, real quick, could be the Mets, who almost knocked them off last year before they even got to the World Series, okay? The Mets have a little bit of everything. I don't think they're the finished product. This team you're seeing now is not going to be the same team that ends the season. However, the Mets have holes, as we know, in the rotation. Okay, they got to spend some kind of money on pitching. I know their principles not to, and it worked out good for them last year. And when they broke the thing down and it caught them on unexpectedly, I think that's when their concept kind of changed, right? They got rid of Verlander, Scherzer, who wasn't performing, who they spent a ton of money on. Okay, who just didn't perform for the Mets. They got injured. They underpitched. They didn't pitch anything close to the back of their baseball card, okay? Mets got screwed in that, for sure. But a hungry owner went after the good stuff. You're going to win, you're going to lose those battles sometimes. Fair enough. But the Phillies, I think they're going to make a mega deal this year. I wouldn't be surprised if somehow they acquire Mike Trout, okay? Or somebody close to a Trout to get them over the hump, okay? And get them to where not only do they lock up the NL East, but they probably beat the team coming out of the Central easily, and they also beat the team coming out of the West, okay? I wouldn't be surprised if Phillies go to the World Series because of those reasons. And they got a nice mix of talent and pitching and speed and Bryce Harper and Trey Turner and Alex Bohm. And Bohm is one of those guys that I was talking about on the Phillies, using a torpedo bat. Nothing wrong with torpedo bat. More power to Bohm. Come on, Bohm. I think it's going to be exciting. It's between the Mets and the Phillies to win this division. I really think so. And the Mets, the only reason I say that is if their nucleus of experimental pitching, I think that's the best word for it. If the nucleus of experimental pitching works out for them again, they'll be in the playoffs. Okay? Soto's a factor, but like I said, in the playoffs, it's about pitching. Okay? As we saw, Dodgers outpitched the Yankees, right? In the World Series. We kind of figured that out. And that's stuff we'll talk about for another day. But moving on to the Central. The NL Central. The Brewers last year sparkled. They shined. They had a glimmer of hope for their fan base. Way to take care of your fan base, Brewers. But the Brew Crew don't know what to do when the Cubs come in town, okay? The Cubs are legitimate. Yes, they got beat up in Tokyo by the Dodgers. Oh, surprise, surprise, okay? But we also saw the Dodgers' big star, Roki Sasaki, walk almost everybody. Get the crap kicked out of him, in a way. And it happened again in this start. I think he'll get it together because you clearly have Yamamoto and Shohei, and they'll probably pull him to the side and be like, hey, bro, listen, I know everything's new for you. The ball's a little bit different. I know pitching in America is a little different. I know this is your dream, but you have the stuff that got you here. Let's use it. Let's continue to develop you and follow our lead. And I think he will, and he'll be a solid number 4, maybe. I don't think 3 this year because I don't think he'll be solid enough, okay? Excuse me. Okay, so that leaves me with the Reds, who, oh my goodness, let me talk about the Reds. Elly De La Cruz? Elly De La Cruz? If you're building a team right now and you have a shortstop hole, that is the man you would give up the farm to go get. He's got speed, he's got talent, he's hitting better than he did last year, and I think this is here to stay throughout the season. He's going to have a close to MVP caliber season, kind of like the season that we saw Tatis have a few years ago. I think he is like the next Tatis, this guy. He's the real deal. I love everything about his play. I love how he hustles. I love how he has fun playing. He is just something to watch. It's incredible. But with that said, there are a lot of pieces away. Okay, I would say a little more than 5. All right, maybe 7. 7 pieces or less. They got to do some things to build around that guy because that guy is the future. And they could easily win the NL Central Division year after year if they make a couple slight moves. I'm saying 7 pieces to win the World Series. Okay, to go to the World Series. Not to win the division. Division, they could win it. Okay, I believe they could be better than the Brewers. Right? Easily. Just a couple moves away from that. Cardinals rebuild. I feel like they're rebuild. When I think of them, I say, oh, Cardinals rebuild, which we don't really see. Cardinals are always good. They're always a solid club. They got a lot of great talent. Sonny Gray. Come on, man. He pitched for Cincinnati for a little bit, too. But they got a lot of great talent coming up. But not enough of it at this moment to win the division. I just don't see it. The Cubs are far better than they are. The Cubs said, oh, you know what? We're losing Bellinger, but you know what? We still got a great team. How about freaking Pete Crow Armstrong? Oh, my goodness, that guy's going to be a great superstar. Come on, man. They're good for the next few years. They're a solid team getting better every year, the Cubs. Cubby baseball, man. They're doing their thing. They're doing their thing. The Pirates. They're a team, man. Oh, man, I'd love to see them make the playoffs again, man. Paul Skeens, build around that guy. He's the best pitcher in freaking both leagues. I truly believe that. He is the best pitcher in both leagues. Not just now, but he's probably, by the time he ends his career, he's at least a 5-time Cy Young Award winner, okay, if he stays healthy. This guy, and I'm not telling you nothing you don't know, this guy's freaking phenomenal. He's awkward in interviews, which is fine. It grabs attention. But you can market the crap out of him. He is just phenomenal. Love this guy. I love the way he pitches. I love his game face. He's a gamer. He doesn't get distracted. He's got a great story. I mean, what is not to love about Paul Skeens right now? I mean, the guy's dominating. I really was disappointed he didn't pitch against the Yankees this past series. Really disappointed. I want to see it. This is what baseball lives for. Then we got the NL West, okay? You got the Giants surprising everybody at 8-1. Right now, they're tied in first place over the Dodgers. If you looked at percentage, they're actually ahead of the Dodgers. Dodgers 9-2. Playing 8-18 ball. Giants are playing 8-89 ball. Is that going to last? I don't think it will. I think the Padres also 8-2. They're showing, hey, we're going to be around all freaking season. Diamondbacks also. I think the lonely Rockies are going to be lonely in the bottom of the basement for a while. They got some upstarts, okay? They always do. They got Doyle right now, okay? They got McMahon. They got some pieces. But the Rockies always have pieces. Castillo, Walker, Yugi Urbina at one point, Ubaldo Jimenez. I mean, Nolan Arenado, when he was Nolan Arenado, DJ LeMahieu, when he was actually good. They have pieces always. Carlos Gonzalez, let me throw him out. Troy Tulowitzki. I mean, come on. They have the pieces. But they failed to get it done. They failed to get it done. It's in their makeup. Until they get a lot more, they're not going to change that. Right now, the other 4 teams in the division are just too good. They freaking own you at this point. So eventually, some of those guys, I think, will get traded off like normal. Okay? Probably not Doyle. He'll probably be there for a while, but some of the guys that are going to age in there a little bit, getting on that cusp, that they get something back for. And rightfully so. If you're not ready to win now, why not build for your future? But the Diamondbacks, they're too good. They are just too good to be a 4th place team. I think they go 3 and higher. Probably 2. I see Padres probably 3rd, Giants 4th. And obviously, you know where the Rockies sit. Dodgers win the division for sure. I mean, coming into the season, you had Las Vegas having them at 104 wins. I think they're probably about a 107 win team. Doesn't mean they're going to win a World Series. I mean, come on, guys. I think they'll have a great season and lose steam at the end. And you never know what kind of injuries will follow them. I don't wish injuries on them, but you never know in baseball. Okay? And you don't know what you're going to get from Shohei. Shohei just had the surgery and all that. Now he's coming back, pitching, and going to be hitting, which means his hitting probably won't be as good as it was. He's still a phenomenal superstar. He'll still be great, but he can't solely focus on hitting because he's going to be pitching too, okay? It's going to take a little bit from both. And then you don't know how long he's going to pitch, what you're going to get with him, if his arm will last a whole season of pitching. But it doesn't have to, because him as a hitter will win you games like it's going out of style. He's one of the greatest players in baseball history. Like, we're witnessing history right now in baseball. And it's sad that people like Shohei Ohtani, who I'd put in the top 2 in baseball right now, have to play in minor league ballparks when they visit Tampa Bay and they visit the A's. It's sad. More fans should get to watch them live. That's a treat. That's a gift. Baseball is like a small time capsule in time. Careers, 20-year careers go by like that. Most people don't even have 20-year careers. Shohei came into this league a little bit older, okay? Look at freaking Ichiro. 27-year-old rookie. 27. Imagine if he came in earlier. I mean, come on. We're witnessing freaking greatness. And he's showing that the things he's doing is better than when Babe Ruth did it. Okay? We're going to be talking about Shohei Ohtani like we talk about Babe Ruth for a very, very, very long time. And hopefully when the Dodgers give him his retired number and the Angels jump in and they give him his retired number and they put it on their wall, hopefully they don't take it off for sponsorship. Wake up, Pirates. I mean, amazing what they're doing. I'm all for what the Dodgers are doing. Go after it. Show you want to win. Show you're freaking hungry. Get the players that want to be there, that want to win. build the chemistry, because that's what it's about. It's not about the back of the baseball card all the time. Sometimes it's about the way they mesh together. And that changes whether they win a World Series or not. So let's wake up. Other teams need to take cue on that. I'm not saying everybody has money to spend and go out and get all these superstars. That's not what I'm saying. But what I'm saying is this. Work with what you got. Pirates are blessed to freaking have Paul Skeens. Now, what are you going to do with him? You're going to just have him until he's no longer under control and then let him go in free agency? How are Pirate fans supposed to get invested in that? They can't. And if you're going to play like that as an organization, you should be in the minor league park. I mean, they got everything going for them. They have one of the most beautiful ballparks in baseball. PNC Park, one of the most beautiful ballparks in baseball, in my opinion. And you waste it all. You waste it. You have a loyal fan base. You have people that love the team. You have a great gimmick in a pirate. Jerseys, everything, uniform looks great. Have them on the national stage. At least have them make the playoffs. Care about them enough. Pirates are a touchy subject for me right now. I'm sorry. But all in all, I think baseball's super exciting this year. We're off to a great start. We're going to have more of this. I'm going to be doing this on a weekly basis here. Today is April 7th. Okay. And I'm going to be going live here eventually. But today is April 7th. It's a Monday. I'll be back next Monday, the 14th, with more of this. I also, on Friday, will be doing a Fastball Friday, which is a little speedier. It's more of me giving my take on top stars in the game and breaking those down, and even the top stars in baseball history. So thank you for sticking around. Please like, subscribe, follow this channel. I'm trying to grow it. I'm trying to do something special here. I love baseball. I've been playing since I was 2 years old. And then I joined adult leagues when I was 16. I got invited to the Philadelphia Phillies, Lakewood Blue Claws minor league tryout, which I went and tried out. Got invited back. Never got to go back. That's a long story. But what I want to say is this. I love this game of baseball. I love the Yankees. I'm a huge Yankee fan, but I love the game of baseball. For every baseball team, it is important for you to support your fan base. With that said, you guys have a great day. Enjoy the rest of your Monday. Thank you for hanging with me. And please just don't forget to like and subscribe. I'm really trying to build this and do something with this and live my dream of being around baseball. Thank you. Have a great one.